Let's go and create this thing. What it is using an image you already have of yourself and turning into images in all kinds of scenarios with you in them. So I'm going to go first into my menu area and go to gems. And then when I get posted this gems, create a new gem. And in there, we're going to first give it a name. So I'm going to say photos of me. And then the description can be, photos of me in scenarios, which is basically what we're doing is creating scenarios for these photos to be in. Now, I've already written these down, so it won't take us long. The first thing is I'm going to tell it must follow this sequence to get the information required in order to create this. Do not skip any steps. Do not create the image until prompted at step 6. Then we're going to go to step 1, which is when the user says start, that's when we start that sequence. I don't want it to start off with any funny things. I just want it to start from the very beginning. So then it says start, begin the sequence and proceed to step 2, which is then selecting the ratio or the shape of the image that they want to work with. And those image shapes are like 1:1 square, 16:9 widescreen, 4:5, which is on the Instagram ratio at the moment, 3:4, which I think fits in LinkedIn and in Facebook as well, and 3:4 is sorry, we're already there. 3:4, 9:16, which is the normal Instagram stories and reels format, and then 2:1, which is a very wide screen as well. So you got to wait for the response, then go to step 3. Let's grab step 3, which is asking the scenario that we want to put this person in. Now, remind you, we haven't put a person in there. That's coming. So step 3, ask what scenario this user wants the person placed in. Wait for the response, then proceed to step 4. I'm being very steppy here because Gemini does have a tendency to jump ahead of things. And so I'm really explicit about the steps I want it to take. Step 4 is what the facial expression the user wishes to have for the person. Wait for that response, then go to step 5. So we're getting a facial expression, a scenario. I'm also going to give the chance to add in any extra details. What other information or details are required? And again, we're waiting until we go to step 6, which is actually creating that image. Here we go, based on the person and knowledge files and the information provided in each step. Now, what I need to do is select first the default tool to be creating images, because that's what I'm doing. I'm not creating anything else, just images. In there, I'm going to now place a file which has got me in it. So a picture of me with my glasses on, so that it's got a very accurate picture of me the way that people would normally meet me. That's now loading up and going into place. So we'll just check out what we've got in here. Photos of me in scenarios. All the steps we wanted to put in there. I selected images and loaded in a version of myself. There's a little picture of me that's going to be the knowledge file I want to base it on. So that the idea is that every time it makes these images, it makes them of me. So let's drag this over a bit further. Let's save our new gem. And let's give it a crack when it saves. So it doesn't take very long. So we haven't given it a huge amount of knowledge files in there. But to get more accurate photos of more sides of you, that would be a good thing to do, is to have lots of different photos of you, preferably wearing your glasses if you wear them. If you don't, then have it in different ways or variations of yourself. Let's start the chat. Let's get it started. So first I'm going to go start, because that's how we start the sequence. And then it's going to be a little bit slow to do this because this is the first time it's done it. Plus, I've given it quite a few pieces of information and requirements. So what shape do we want? 1:1, 16:9. I'm going to go 16:9, which is B. So option B. So I've given those options so we don't have to type in 16:9. Now what it's going to do is ask us the second question. We've got the 16:9 aspect ratio. What scenario do we want it to be in? So I'm going to describe this by using my microphone and say, I want this person to be celebrating on Sydney Harbour on New Year's Eve for 2026. And they're with a group of people in exuberant excitement, arms in the air, and celebrating with champagne and fireworks going off in the background. So I'm giving it lots of detail in there, and I find this is the best way of putting information into Gemini and also into ChatGPT, because I'm not a great typer. So when I get to talk like this, it makes it so much easier for it to come through. Now we're going into the next step, which is then to do facial expression that I want on this person. So what I want is his mouth open as if he's yelling Happy New Year. So we're going to put that in there once it allows me. It's going refining all those details for me. Now I'm hoping hoping it doesn't just jump straight through to creating the image, and it has done that, which has done exactly what I was looking for it to do anyway. Let's have a look. This looks awesome. So that's a really good photo. I don't know whether it's particularly accurate. My tattoos are a bit messed up. They're not my tattoos. And I don't know why everybody is 20 years younger than me, but apparently only young people celebrate New Year's. So it did skip the one thing, which was to add the facial expressions and then add more details. What I could do though is go back and say, "Hey, you skipped the steps. Hey, you skipped some steps." And then what it'll do is go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry, I did that. Yeah, yeah." And then it'll allow you to continue that on. So we can continue the process, which we're going to do it to see if it's any different. And I'm going to add in some scenarios because that gave me a little bit of a false attack there because it's got a whole lot of people that have got me as the center of attention. I don't really want that. And I don't want everybody to be that much younger than me. So I'm going to give it a facial expression, exuberant, excited, as if saying, "Happy New Year." So we've got that in there. Let's just say that. And then hopefully it should now give me the next step, which is the extra information, which is what I want to do for the background. I want to add in like the scenario of the kind of people. So I want lots of diversity of those people of different age groups. From teenagers right up to people in their 70s. So let's see how we go with that. It is loading Nano Banana, so it might be trying to generate that picture for me. But let's cross our fingers and see if it allows us to go through there. Now, as I've found with these two, the more you do these in these gems, it actually does learn what your patterns are, and sometimes it'll drop it off again. But that's all that. Now, not what I asked for, and it skipped another step. You skipped another step. I'm going to tell it again. Now, it's still got the same kind of thing. Everyone's 20 years younger than me or 30 years younger than me, so I'm not particularly keen on that response. But it's got that whole idea, the mouth open, exuberant, saying Happy New Year. Some reason stuck me in a Happy New Year t-shirt as well. So let's see what it does now that it's going back. And I've told it to skip a step. Yep, I've definitely skipped that step. Was the other information. I want this user to be in a plain black t-shirt. I want them to be surrounded by other people who are of a similar age. So anything from mid-30s to late 70s and diverse in their backgrounds, not just white. So, in fact, didn't do the just white thing anyway, which is great. Just being absolutely spot on that that's not what I want because that does not reflect the group of people I would normally want to be around. Mind you, I'd never be awake that late at night anyway. But that's the thing is that I want it to reflect, the kind of people I would be around, and I'm not always around people who are white. In fact, I'm rarely around just people who are white. So it's I want to make it in my context, and this is why we put those extra questions so you can have your context in there as well. All right, it's crunching the numbers. It's coming up with it. Let's see what step 6 comes out with and whether it's going to produce us the desired response. I have a feeling it's going to be very, very similar. Hopefully it didn't put me in a Happy New Year t-shirt because that looked really tacky, like something that I bought from one of those cheap shops like the Reject Shop on special from last year's Happy New Year clearance sale or something like that. Let's see what it comes out with because I've added all those details. Remember I said, I want to work with that person. Who is the key person in my knowledge files? I said, I want to give it scenario. I want to give it a facial expression. I want to give it some surrounds and more information. And it's put me in that t-shirt again. But that said, I didn't say don't put those on there. The age range is a lot better. And unfortunately, they are all white. So it's actually gone against that. But you've started to get that. I can now fiddle with that, take away the Happy New Year, so I can take away the Happy New Year, make the people more diverse in the background and all that kind of thing. So we can play with extras. So that's basically how you could do that. And now I could use that whole thing again. So I go straight in my gems, open up a new one, and do the same thing all over again, and do another lot of photos repeated. So this could be a really good way of you to do that. One good thing to do though, when you get photos of you that are absolutely brilliant and you love them and produced in here, go into the gem and edit it to add the knowledge files of more of those photos that you like the look of. Just add it in here and add in more files of the photos that did turn out well. So it's learning all the time what is expected of it. And that's very much how you do that. So you don't have to keep prompting. You just have it ask question by question by question. You can do this in ChatGPT as a custom GPT-4 project as well. It's just not quite as good at getting a lot of the details as what the Nano Banana Google Gemini version is. So I hope you enjoyed that.